In this session, we will explore how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the hospitality industry, helping brands understand their guests better, anticipate their needs, and deliver more meaningful, personalized experience at every touchpoint. Leading this conversation, Jesko van den Steinen. He's the director of experience consulting at PwC Middle East, but he's also a German artist, performer, and creative director known for his groundbreaking work.
Thank you very much. I see you got that off LinkedIn or somewhere. Nicely done. Let me drop this down. As you can see, we have three distinguished panelists that will be coming up on stage in just a moment. I think Vince, he said, for example, that AI is revolutionizing hospitality. I would say that's half true, and I think there's a bit of hype and myth around that. However, in the pre-conversation with Asif, Fouad, and Pier Giorgio, we see that there is, in fact, some forward movers, early adopters, who are creating a lot of change. I think the core ask that we will have in this panel is, where is that change happening? What is the opportunity? What's being missed? And how can we, as in the hospitality industry, be mindful to keep the human at the center of this technological revolution? So with that in mind, I'd like to please invite on stage Asif, Giorgio, and Fouad. Oh, well done. They took their seats right underneath their names. Very good. Welcome.
We didn't even try it.
You didn't even try. Welcome. Well, very good. I see. You see, this is a nice thing, is that Pier Giorgio is wearing a beautiful pink tie to represent his brand. Well done. And you're sitting in the center. Very good. Okay, gentlemen, given that we've got about 25 minutes, I'd like to give the time to yourselves as much as possible. I've made a few questions. I was given a few questions, but they're actually quite relevant. So why don't we just jump right off? Any burning comments that you guys want to have before we get into questions?
I think I'm just very excited to talk about practical cases of where AI has already been used so we can deconstruct them together.
Well done. Okay, good. Let's use that then. So I think, Asif, let's start with you actually. Where have you seen AI genuinely improve the guest experience? And what's been working? And what is not ready yet?
It's a great question. So just to provide a little bit of context for the audience, we developed an AI solution for hotel operations and guest communications, but we implemented it in hotels 15 months ago, one with Hotel School The Hague in the Netherlands and one UK hotel. And before we even decided how to use AI, we started by talking to guests and talking to hotel team members. And we identified where the guests specifically were having issues in their stay. And they were telling us things like, we pick up the phone and nobody answers, and the hotel keeps telling us to download an app or scan a QR code, or even worse, use the TV in the hotel room to order room service, which one guest told us they were having a real trouble ordering 2 gin and tonics on a TV remote. And I don't blame them. I think that's impossible. And so we then looked at how we could apply AI to improve the communication part and take away some friction for the guest. And so we found that guests were quite happy with that. So one of the areas where AI was working quite well was that guests could pick up the phone and talk to a concierge in any language. Sounds like a human. And they can make their requests and raise their issues and ask their questions. They can do that over WhatsApp or over WeChat or any messaging platform that they already use, but they don't have to download anything new. And that was the first benefit, that they just felt it was less friction, it was easier. We had a byproduct from that that came in the first few months, which is that we were able to start to capture how guests were feeling about their stay in the hotel. Either they were telling us more directly through those channels, or we were able to infer that, you know, they've raised that their AC wasn't working, they tried to book dinner at 9 p.m. and the restaurant was full, and we are then able to start to flag that to the hotel team proactively. So almost measuring the guest experience in real time. And those were two things, reducing the friction for the guest and measuring the guest experience in real time so the human team can do something about it, which was really two areas where we applied AI. We've been doing it for over 15 months, and it's working really well.
Thank you, Yosef. And I mean, I love this idea of anticipatory service, which is a definition of luxury, right? That we anticipate service and you're actually able to do that in real time. That's actually quite interesting. A follow-up on this is, I mean, in your pipeline of tech that you're developing at Intello AI, what's still coming? What's not ready yet? What's not ripe that you're seeing that will potentially be ripe in a year or two?
I think what we'll see fairly soon is, at the moment, let's say if you use our solution in a hotel, and whatever the guest is asking for, we're using the first phase of AI agents to categorize, summarize, prioritize, and distribute the tasks that are coming from the conversation with the guest in real time and pass those out to the hotel team. So if I say I need 2 towels, my AC's not working, find me an Italian restaurant for dinner, all in the same sentence, the AI agent is going ahead, splitting that up and passing those tasks to the right team member on their mobile device. That's the stage that we're operating at now. I think what we'll see is that go much further. Maybe it'll start booking external venues at the request of the guest without needing much information from the guest. Maybe we'll be able to start to plan future stays of the guest as well, based on what we're learning about their preferences and their likes and what they like to do. So I think those are the new things that are coming fairly quickly, is sort of predictive personalization. I think we're very close to that in a hotel where we're running the solution for a few months, and a higher degree of agentic automation, going and performing more multi-step tasks on behalf of the guest, or even on behalf of the team. But I'll stop there.
Good, thank you. Gentlemen, okay, so let's go maybe to Fuad. As travel discovery increasingly begins on social, how does AI help us connect from early intent all the way through to booking? There's this wonderful journey that occurs there, and how do we actually land the final booking? So with that in mind, what makes these personal experiences, though, feel timely and relevant? Because, of course, they can feel off and feel clunky. So what are you seeing there in your domain?
Great. First of all, thank you for having me. And to give the audience here some context, prior to the Gen AI boom, how did the journey look like is that a customer will often go to social media for inspiration, watching that, like a reel or a beautiful or a post about a beautiful destination. Then they will turn into search engines, like the Googles of the world, to perform an extensive search on the destination, how to get there, what to do, things to do, and so on. And then after understanding and doing the planning on search engines, you would end up on OTAs like ours, like Booking, the others, to perform the booking, be it booking an accommodation, a flight, or a transport. And then Gen AI came in, and we see some transition happening. Still customers go to social media and be it Instagram, TikTok, for inspiration. But then what happened is that they're going to when it comes to planning and decision making, they're relying on Gen AI platforms, be it ChatGPT. Because what those platforms have is context. So you don't need to provide a lot of questions or prompting that, or just simple questions will help the Gen AI platform to give you an itinerary, help you with the planning. It will know things like what kind of sports do you play, what's your favorite cuisine. So it doesn't have to ask you, because you already have provided that context in one way or another through your conversation, depending, of course, on your conversation with the Gen AI. So that makes it much quicker for Gen AI to pull information, come up with itinerary without asking you questions like where you're traveling from, because it knows that you're already based in Dubai or another destination. Then, of course, the customer, after performing the planning, they go to back to booking to perform the actual booking. Then what have happened early this month, which is also great news for us, for our customers, for our partners, is that now we're directly integrated in ChatGPT, meaning that a customer will start, or the traveler or the user will go ask questions, and and perform the actual planning without leaving the ChatGPT app, because through strong authentication, a logged customer on Booking or any of the platforms that is integrated with ChatGPT can find their account and perform actually the booking, payment, etc. So and with of course with context. So both booking and ChatGPT can provide the user with a context, or pull from that context to provide a very refined outcomes, and takes minutes to just plan and book their experience.
Thank you. A follow-on question or something that I'm curious about, and I'll open up to Pier Giorgio as well to respond to, is within Europe we're using GPDR, so we have data concerns. You mentioned about context and that how much information, for those of us who are more skeptical or less tech savvy, how much information does the ChatGPT actually know from us, and how is that data generally being managed? And in Booking.com, we give consent, for example, but in this other context with ChatGPT, how does that work and what is your experience?
Well, we are also abided by GDPR because we are a Dutch company based out of Amsterdam. So data is anonymized, and this is not only with ChatGPT. This internally, we have certain guardrails in place to limit the access of raw data or any personal identifiable data to certain use only. So it's not broadly, especially the personal identifiable data is the major point of concern, and it's not widely available. What is the AI models are working with is anonymized data, very, very large scheme of data that cannot identify, in most of the cases, are not working with personal identifiable data.
Thank you. So Pier Giorgio, we're starting to talk about going from the initial intent through to booking, and of course revenue management. Part of that is, of course, reputation and the decision-making that AI can do. How will it push potentially to one property to another property, for example? These are the sort of those things that are starting to percolate. Where is AI driving real revenue today? And then the follow-on to that is what's being missed? Where are we seeing potential pickups or opportunities that are not being generated yet? And please do a bit of introduction on Blastness as well if you need to.
Yes, thank you. Cool. And by the way, it was funny because we have some friends in common in PwC Italy. They help us to develop our tools. I will give a little bit of context about Blastness. Blastness is an Italian company that since 20 years is on the market, and we support hotels to sell room online and with particular focus in direct bookings. Today we have more than 2,000 hotel clients, so we are the first player in Italy, and we are on a roadmap to become a global player, and so we are here also to establish in Dubai, which we think that can be a real hub for our growth. We come from revenue management. We were talking about this. I was a previous revenue manager before Blastness, working in the airlines, and so we've been, let's say, we've been lucky because revenue management was one of the first points where we started to apply machine learning late in 2017. It was very adapt. And after that, we started working a lot in digital marketing. We actually were one of the first to build a bid management system made to support hotels to drive direct bookings, let's say playing in the same field with very big companies like Booking.com, so working together. Where we actually released, and we find a big power now in artificial intelligence was in the latest tool that we launched on the market just this year, which is our artificial intelligence booking engine. What does it mean? It's a booking engine that works for the hotels to sell directly their rooms, but this time powered by artificial intelligence. And what we wanted to do is to change from the previous concept of a booking engine, which is just a catalog of rooms, to making the experience of the client better, to being more able to focus on what they really should be interested in buying. And this actually, it's helping us a lot because on one side, we give to the customer that goes on the website a better experience. We are more able to focus on the room that is right for them or that we pretend is going to be right. This, at the end of the day, really helps also us and hotels because we see already on the first hotel starting using it in our first case histories that the conversion rates increase quite a lot. And this is all a matter of making it more, let's say, giving also a business taste of artificial intelligence. Instead, we still don't see it complete, but we see close to it, is the next pain point. So follow me. I'm going on the, let's say, a direct booking customer journey, which is not very different from the, let's say, Booking.com customer journey. So it's the same customer. So we're going from the reach outside on the search engines, on meta search. Then they might go on the website. They might see the right price on the booking engine. until here, I think really supporting and as I've said before, try not to make them download another thing, make it frictionless. Where today there's a bit of friction, we still think in the direct booking, not in booking.com where they did a very good job, is payment. Payment is a pain point. And so there our AI can still improve the experience, and it's actually what we are working on 2026, working on something that we call an asynchronous way of doing the payment, because that is the last point. I don't know if Asif and you agree with me. These are our main points.
Good way to bring them back in, gentlemen.
Definitely.
Please,
I mean-
ping off of what Giorgio has said.
Yeah, it's great to hear about actually the booking engine. I really like that. I think that the missed opportunity is very much in stay when the guest is on property, because we hand them a bunch of flyers when they check in and there's some sort of marketing collateral in the room. They see some signage, but it's really meaningless. And a lot of hotels I go to, not just here in Dubai, around the world, the guests are inundated with all sorts of things, but they almost look past it. And
Really a bench, as you say, a bunch of stuff that they give you.
yeah,
to get in.
exactly. And there are fine restaurants in the property. There's a spa. There's all sorts of services that we can drive additional incremental revenue towards. But I think that's the missed opportunity. So the example would be that when the guest is on property, do we know enough about them to, at a timely way, offer them a discount off the spa because our spa has capacity? And can we automate that sort of upselling, so to speak, but in an intuitive, non-sort of intrusive way? And I think that that's one missed opportunity. The other really interesting thing was we launched, for example, our solution in a hotel here with one of our partners that's here, First Group Hospitality, at one of their properties, which was 650 rooms. They've been using our system, as I described earlier. Guests can communicate, raise issues, ask questions. We found something really interesting, which is that over 60% of the guests that used the system whilst they were staying in the hotel opted in for additional sales and special offers and marketing special offers. That's an incredibly high percentage, saying that we want some special offers, sell us something. And that's a missed opportunity too. A lot of them also opted in for direct booking offers. Again, I don't think we ask the guests when they're in property, do you want to book direct with us next time? We can offer you a deal. We kind of rarely ask them that. A front desk person might do it at some point, but there's no real consistency there.
I would say there's no real conversation. I think
No, there's a conversation for sure.
it's what we are seeing. We are trying to convert rather than selling all pieces of software. We are trying to, what we want in the end of the day is having something practical, so doing some selling, and we call it, all this development we are doing, conversational selling, opening conversation points to then arriving to selling something. Now there can be the room, can be the upsell, or can be the spa or the restaurant. But what I feel is that artificial intelligence can be an enabler to enhance and make it easier to start the conversation. Yesterday, too, I checked in the hotel, and it was 2 o'clock in the night, okay? But I got a bunch of paper, and when you say before, I'm going to buy my gin tonic, switching on a TV. For me, the TV is not even anything, something I have in the room. I want to work from my mobile. But the conversation, when it starts, we believe, and it's where we're going, is the starting point to do purchases, is what I would like. I would have get my gin tonic at 2 o'clock if you had a pop-up on my WhatsApp. I didn't even look for my remote to turn off the TV. I'm not even sure if I have a TV in the room actually now. I didn't notice it.
So I'd like to pick up on one key point here, Nasif, you opened up with, is that we are increasingly, through AI, we can increasingly meet people where they are. And ultimately that's on WhatsApp, WeChat, those are conversational environments. And if we can have that frictionless interaction or that conversation, which I think, Pier Giorgio, you brought up a really nice point here for me, is that it's opening a conversation rather than it being a hard sell. When I am walking through the lobby and I'm getting an upsell from a client, from one of the employees, I get aggravated. As though if I was to do a quick conversation on the WhatsApp, it perhaps is less of an intrusion, and it's on my terms.
You totally got it.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. All right, with that in mind, one of my final questions that I find interesting is, what should always stay human in hospitality? So what's something that AI should never replace? Now, we say that today. In 3 years from now, that may change again, right? But for today, what do we think? What should always stay human in hospitality?
I could start if you like, but feel
You can
free.
start.
You know, actually, when we started implementing our solution, we never really went in with the intention of replacing any human team members, because we were identifying miscommunication, broken communications amongst the team, amongst the guests and the team, and addressing these kind of baked-in frictions and inefficiencies. And so we never really went in with the intention of replacing anybody. Agreed that as technology evolves and agentic AI and other forms of AI develop, maybe we will have this conversation again next year and the year after. But for now, I think it's more about, you know, when I walk into the hotel, I want to make eye contact with someone who works for the hotel. I don't want them to be buried in paper or on the phone. I want them to smile and talk to me, talk to the kids, and welcome us in. If I need something, they should be there. And I don't think those things should change. I don't want to be greeted by robots when I walk into the hotel. But let's have that conversation in a year's time.
Fair, fair. Fuad, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, for sure. Like there are a few things that AI would never replace for now with the current context, but a few things like, of course, empathy, like the empathy of humans. Of course, models could be trained on that, but it would never be equivalent to the empathy of humans. We chatted earlier about the ownership, accountability. So ownership and accountability of anything that is managed by AI should still remain with humans and not, of course, with AI, especially on topics of ethics, making ethical decisions. Those are topics can never be handed over to AI. So yeah, and I actually got those answers from AI.
And it's completely fair. Don't worry. Don't forget. I'm a consultant. AI is my best friend. So anyway, move on. So gentlemen, what's one thing or one moment in the hospitality journey that tech can certainly support but should never own, in your opinion?
I think basically I also agree with what you said. I try maybe to give another point of view, more difficult, but maybe coming from our perspective, that's more connected to software development. I think that we saw it during these times that technology and AI can help a lot in day-by-day work. There are a lot of, as you say, also as a consultant, there are a lot of repetitive tasks, but also the power of the action that they can do, it's amazing. So I like to say at the moment, they really have to help us with everything that is tactical. Where I think that they still cannot replace, and I hope that this is not going to change, but I don't see it, is in the strategic vision. Strategic vision, as you are, if you are an hotel, well, what kind of product you want to give to your hotel, to your clients in the next years, but also if you are a very big OTAs, I guess that the best LLM in the model cannot say what Booking.com has to do in the future, or what you have to do as a company, which is your strategy, because I think the strategy is still the things that makes the difference between different companies that are led by human.
From again, Gen AI and the different models can boost productivity, technology development, but it cannot replace things like long-term vision, midterm vision, and also it can be used as an aid for execution, but cannot execute the vision. But next to that, again, like certain things that should not be owned by technology, I would say ethical decision making. Those are are critical areas that should always be done by an experienced human.
Yeah, I agree with both of those opinions. I think also there's two parts from my answer to that question, which is one is that there's jobs that we know today AI can't replace. It's not going to clean the room. It's not going to fix the AC. It's not going to smile at the kids, like I mentioned earlier, when we walk into the hotel. It's, you know, maybe something on wheels might try and bring the dish to my table when I order lunch, but really probably a human should do that too. But then what it definitely shouldn't replace is management decisions, HR decisions, evaluating performance of staff members, hiring and firing. You know, I don't think it's ready for those things, and I don't think we should outsource those things, because there are innately human elements to those processes that I think only humans should have responsibility for. So I would not want to see AI doing performance appraisals on teams and suggesting who shouldn't make the cut. I don't think that's ethical or fair. So I don't think we should outsource those kind of management HR decisions to AI anytime soon.
Having worked in a number of years in hospitality myself, we've spent so much time training staff to be empathetic, to make that human connection, to actually be present for the guest. The one thing that I see in your conversation is we can remove a lot of the tasks out of the way, put them in the background, so that we can have that, as you said, that moment together with the guest to be generally present. If we treat AI as that type of enabler, then I think it's something that the hospitality industry should not shy away from, because it will allow us to create those tenants. That would be my reflection based on what you guys are hearing.
Actually, I can connect because I read an article, I think yesterday, where I was flying. They say something very similar, and it was a different point of view. For many time, we saw technology, especially thinking technology as social, mobile phone, as something that distracts you, no? You're always there, creates dopamine. AI can be seen instead as refocusing, because it can help you to take out, let's say, the daily tasks that are really, put dopamine in your mind and concentrate on the relation, as you were saying, exactly what you're saying and what Asif was saying before, exactly as Fuad. So being able to refocus on relation and human relation, this could be an enabler.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this is a really good point, because I'm out a lot talking to hotels about our solution and, in some cases selling our solution, right? And I will often get this conversation of, yes, but we're a human-based industry. It's all about the human touch. And I absolutely agree. That has to be protected. But then every single staff member that I talk to in the hotel is stretched. The housekeepers, the engineers, the front desk teams, they've got so much going on. So they've been trained how to empathize and interact with the guest. And then they're being hammered with radios and paper lists and messages and private WhatsApp messages and supervisors chasing them on the floor and the chaos of running the daily operation. And we've learned to live with that. And I think that that's the wake-up call, is that don't look at AI as taking away the human touch. Don't look at it as taking jobs, because that's all our decision. Look at it as, how can I make the working environment for teams better, as well as making the guest experience better. So we started implementing our AI to make the communication frictionless for guests. And we also found that the teams really enjoyed it. They were being chased less by front desk. The supervisor wasn't running and chasing them around on the floor to take room 212, those towels that they asked for 10 minutes ago. It's all a bit more smooth for the team as well. And I think that's really important. So I think we're in an era now of being open-minded to technology and almost dropping past baggage of the failed implementations pre-AI. We're in a new era.
Well, I think that's a good call to action and words to end on. I see that we're also getting close. Gentlemen, I leave the floor very quickly, one last word or so, but Asif, thank you very much. It's a really good call to action for a closing statement. Anything else?
AI, we need to make AI work for us as an enabler.
Yeah. It's very clear point of view. All right, well, with that, then let's close the session. Thank you very much to those of you who listened. Thank you.